In Star Wars Rebels, we heard of the legend of the first ever Mandalorian Jedi, Tar Vizsla, the Jedi that actually managed to construct the Darksaber by means we still don't fully know about. As I've speculated several times, there are different ways Tar Vizsla could have actually made the first Darksaber that we know about, and really the only Darksaber that we know about in the Star Wars mythos. And today, thanks to Star Wars Resistance, the animated show, we have a little bit more details on the Tar Vizsla character. And although admittedly it's not a ton of brand new information, I do want to cover this character, as again the fact that he actually constructed the Darksaber and was the first ever Mandalorian Jedi inducted into the Order makes him an extremely important figure in Star Wars. Just a little bit of catch-up information though that we got from Rebels. Tar Vizsla of course is a Mandalorian, and because he was a Mandalorian, apparently he was the only individual capable of constructing a Darksaber. He became an extremely important figure both among the Jedi and the Mandalorian, with his Darksaber being placed within the Jedi Temple following Tar Vizsla's death by unknown means. For several years, different generations of the Vizsla clan would attempt to steal the Darksaber, with them eventually being successful. From that point on, the Darksaber became an extremely important symbol to all of Mandalore, so much so that it was believed that whoever could successfully wield the Darksaber in combat could unite the entire planet if that was their desire. There have been several wielders of the Darksaber over Star Wars, with two of them actually controlling Mandalore, those two being Pre Vizsla and Maul. However, later Sabine Wren would become a prominent figure on Mandalore herself, successfully uniting them once again, wielding that very Darksaber. But as I mentioned in Star Wars Resistance, we got a little bit of new information about the original constructor of the Darksaber, Tar Vizsla. What we learned is that Tar Vizsla, like most Jedi, were taken to the Jedi Temple to be trained as a knight at a very young age, and that he did not have time to be cemented enough into Mandalorian culture. This is significant as the Mandalorians and the Jedi have a rocky relationship at best, with massive full-scale attacks breaking out between the two organizations. In Star Wars, a Mandalorian with appropriate Mandalorian training and armor are some of the few individuals that have ever successfully hunted down and killed Jedi Knights. So someone being taken from the Mandalorian homeworld and being trained as a Jedi Knight was a huge step forward for both groups. But again, after Tar Vizsla's death, the Jedi Order ultimately deciding to keep the Darksaber was considered hugely disrespectful to the Mandalorian. But we also learned something else about Tar Vizsla that's extremely intriguing. We learned that the Jedi Tar Vizsla actually gained the title of Mandalore on his home world among the Mandalorians. For those of you that need a refresher, anybody that held the title of Mandalore was denoted as the sole leader of the Mandalorian people, and was sort of established as their protector and main warrior of the clan. It was revealed to us through Star Wars Resistance that not only was Tar Vizsla a Mandalorian Jedi, but he was also a Mandalore, and at one point in time was one of the few Mandalorians to control the entire planet of Mandalore and all of Mandalorian culture, an extremely difficult task considered originally that Mandalorian culture is very warrior based. Although it's never said, it's quite possible that Tar Vizsla was also the first ever Mandalore, in Star Wars canon that is. But this also raises a major question as to the history and story of Tar Vizsla. Did he actually leave the Jedi Order to become Mandalore, or did the Jedi Order at large allow him to become the ruler of an entire world, something that seems very un-Jedi-like? So is it possible, and perhaps even I may say likely, that after being trained as a Jedi Knight, Tar Vizsla left the Order, and then with Darksaber in hand ruled over Mandalore, protecting it? But upon his death, the Jedi again took his lightsaber for their own, prompting more aggression between the two groups. But that is the new information that we learned about the first ever, and to our current knowledge, only ever Mandalorian Jedi, Tar Vizsla, and his legendary and iconic Darksaber. But what are your thoughts on this recent update to Star Wars lore? And where and when do you think we will learn more about Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi? As always, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.